Welcome back to Sunset Beach. This is the Vans World Cup of Surfing, Round 3, Heat 7. Adrian Ace Buchan, Jadson Andre, Marco Giorgi, and Mark Lacamere. Australia, Brazil, Uruguay, and France represented. Man, this is a surfing super heat right here. Chris Cote with Ross Williams. We've already seen some wild turns of events. That last heat, the often infallible B. Durbridge getting the interference, going down. Jesse Mendez and Tori Meister, but we got a whole new heat on our hands. 30-minute heats. Top 2 surfers will advance on the strength of their top 2 scores. And as it stands right now, Ace Buchan has come out of the gates swinging 8.5. He got right on the buzzer during the break, but the live action will not stop. Marco Giorgi, the dark horse threat, gets around a big section, and here's the big power hook that we are now seeing that is his forte. 2 big carves from Marco Giorgi from Uruguay. And I don't think there's any waves like this in Uruguay, so that tells me that Marco has been putting in his time here on the North Shore.
Here in Hawaii. He's been coming here for a few years. And let's take a look at what an 8.5 looks like. You know, that's higher than the winning total in the last heat from Jesse Mendez. Nice surgical snap that we're used to seeing from Ace, and there's a second maneuver. He always looks so comfortable on his rail, and Ace is one of those guys that can easily take his type of surfing onto a gun, you know, a 7-foot surfboard. He looks like he's meant to be on that kind of equipment. And there's the heavy-footed regular footer again. Chris, look at that, nice carve and wave selection key. 2 nice maneuvers right before that wave fattened up into the channel, and he's got himself a comfortable start. Wait, Stephanie has how many? Stephanie has.
Carissa has 3.
Stephanie Gilmore has 6, yeah. So
You're
Carissa
right.
just got 3. She's halfway there, and she is very young. She could easily get there. And here goes Mark.
Mark Lacamere, big, powerful Frenchman, straight up into the lip. Wow, he maintained control through the hard part and then got blown off his board coming down, but a few good, big, meaty hooks out the back. Would you describe a meat hook as he does these here? As someone who doesn't know what that is.
That's one of my favorite terms. Somehow it makes sense. You know, obviously the shape of a big old meat hook is these guys like to have that torquey carve, and it kind of goes in that same motion with a hook. Meat hook just sounds cool, just hefty, big, powerful.
Again, it's one of those terms that is really unique to surfing. Well, with 21 minutes and 50 seconds to go, it's Ace Buchan right now who's dropped the hammer straight into it with an 8.5. Really with about 1 minute into this heat, he finds himself absolutely in control.
Yeah.
You know, but don't take that back up wave lightly. He needs to get something probably in that, I would say, 4 to 5 range to feel really safe. But we've seen it happen. Guys coming to the end with big scores and still going down. And here goes Marco Giorgi. He's got a 5.83, so a solid start. He is fighting this wave to the inside section. Could have a nice reform for him. He's still going strong. Nice down carve straight into another off the top. Giorgi will not stop attacking this wave from beginning to end. I'm liking what I'm seeing from this surfer from Uruguay.
Again, wave selection. You know, Marco picking up on that medium-sized wave, really deep in the lineup, and to me, that shows me that he's kind of gutsy. You know, you have to go pretty deep into the lineup at Sunset Beach to grab those peaks, and then, wow, crazy drop too. We're talking about air drops. He got a lot of air under the fins there, actually disconnected from the face of the wave, so pretty technical drop there for Marco. And then as this wave comes on the inside, he's going to get one nice chunk, a nice section here, and he gets 2 sweeps. One just a little fade, and then a nice snap. So it's not going to be a big score, but again, he is chipping away. He's already got that 5.83, and I believe he will move, you know, well into second position.
I think when you pair an exciting start like that with a good follow through, that's where the judges really start to kind of look at those drops. Well, so far it's worked. He gets a 4 on that last wave. That's enough to get him into the lead. Ace Buchan drops to second, Lacamere third. Jadson Andre sitting on 2 low scores right now. Needs to get things rolling. But I'll tell you what, he's got a lethal backhand.
Yeah.
And if we see him get the opportunity, he will go straight up in the lip. Another one of these guys who is unafraid when it is demanded of him. But here goes Ace Buchan. Super smooth, stylish surfer from Australia. He is definitely a great representative for the sport of surfing. The way he carries himself, not only in the water, but on land as well, as you see him wrapping around into the whitewater. And he goes down on that last turn, but Ace Buchan, I mean, what a spokesperson for professional surfing.
And he actually is one of the surfers reps, so he does double duty on tour. He'll go to all the meetings and kind of takes on responsibility. Very smart fella from Australia, and this is beyond a backup score. This is going to be a decent number for Ace. He's going to be kind of in cruise control, all based on this nice snap right there. And his wave selection was key. He waited outside there. He didn't get sucked into like Marco's game, going over to the middle peak. He just stayed on that classic west bowl there. So he's going to have a solid backup score, and now he's kind of just cruising into the next round.
Surfline is the official surf forecaster for the World Surf League, and I'm joined by the lead forecaster of Surfline, Kevin Wallace. Kevin, we had a couple days of no surf. The forecast showed the swell coming up today. You know, how big is it going to get, and what is the exact forecast for the rest of the day today?
Yeah, morning, Todd. You know, we've got great waves on offer, obviously, right now. I've been watching buoy 1, which is about a half-day indicator of what's going to happen here on the North Shore, and it's just been running strong all the way through the morning, so solid surf all afternoon. Shouldn't necessarily get much bigger or anything like that, but hold at about the same level we're seeing now. Winds will come up a little bit more, so it's going to be kind of windy this afternoon, but we expect great surf all day.
With that said, it looks like we'll have swell the rest of the day. How's it looking for tomorrow? Does it look like tomorrow should be our final day and we'll crown our champion?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, ultimately it's up to Marty and Travis to decide, but you know, it looks like we're going to have good surf again tomorrow. Slowly coming down through the day. It's going to shift a little bit more north-northwest. Wind should improve a little bit, actually. Lay down just a little bit, become a little bit more east, but hey, it looks like a good day of surf again tomorrow.
During that interview with Kevin Wallace from Surfline, saw a couple of waves being ridden. Let's take a look at the replay here, starting with Jadson Andre.
Again, huge heat here for Jadson. And there's that backhand attack you were talking about, Chris. He is vicious, and that's too. And he needed this. You know, he really did need this to go down. He's had a slow start. That is going to be a great score for him. And he needs to basically win this event if he wants to break into the top 10. He's sitting at 20th on his CT, so a pressure-packed heat here for Jadson Andre. And then, you know, Ace Buchan making it look easy out here. He got a 5 for the wave prior. It looks to me like this is going to be potentially even better than that score. So again, he's kind of on cruise control. Everything is easy for him. And here's a priority thing. And you know what? I take that back. He bottom turned around him. So he had to have seen that Mark was taking off on that wave. So either Marco thought he had priority or he was just tripping because, you know, on our screen it showed that Mark Locklear had priority. So the judges got something to look at here.
Well, if that is indeed a priority gaffe, that is going to be a sad story for Marco Giorgi, who we've kind of tapped as the dark horse threat to take out this entire contest. With 10 minutes and 50 seconds to go, priority sometimes can get the best of you as Marco Giorgi suffers the consequences for not yielding to Mark Lacomere, who was sitting in that top priority spot. So there you have it. An interference called on our surfer from Uruguay in yellow. Marco Giorgi will now only be scored on one wave.
What's going on, Chris?
Heavy blow.
That's 2 heats in a row now. So again, he had to have seen him. He did kind of look over his shoulder left for a split second, so it'd be interesting to get an interview with Marco and see if he saw him or not. But again, he bottom turned right around him. Mark Locklear, you saw him in blue. He had priority, so that's an interference, and that's one less wave he can count at his top 2.
Well, what I like that he's still out there going for it. I want to see Marco ride a couple more waves just because I like to watch him surf. He's going to have a tough road.
I mean, the door's slightly open for him. It's possible an 8, Chris, could move him to second.
So you're saying there's a chance. Well, Mark Lacomere trying to end the run of Marco Giorgi. And that wave did not look good. He's got a 7, so he's got a big score, but he's got to back it up. His low right now is a 1, and Jadson Andre, he's just a little bit better right now, getting a 7.10. But Mark Lacomere needs to be careful because, again, we know what Jadson Andre is capable of given the right wave.
So a battle right now for second place, isn't it? Jadson and Mark are kind of tangled up. They're just trying to back that score up. They both have a 7. And a lot of time left. Seems like the waves are really consistent now. This morning, the first couple of heats was a little bit slow, but it's filled in a bit. Here's that last ride, a 2.4 from Mark Laclemar. He's just waiting for that wave to stand up so that he can tag it. Do a nice sweeping hook, and he just got that one little cut back. That's why that score stayed pretty low. Marco Giorgi, you know, right now the computer technically shows that he can make the heat with a 9.4, but it's only a matter of time as we see him kind of just flop over there. It's only a matter of time before Jadson or Mark back up that 7, then he'll be comboed and he won't have any possibility of making this heat. And the wave comes right to him.
Oh, whitewater takeoff, bounces straight up onto his board, takes the high line, he's out. Wave not worth the risk. When you've pretty much got the heat sealed up, that's when, you know, in many instances you will just set it loose and go for the biggest air of your life. But at Sunset Beach, you know, I would recommend just an air of caution. Save yourself. A nice under the lips snap for Mark Laclemar. He's finding his form now. And he is a big, powerful surfer from France. Reminiscent, kind of about Wiggly Dantas style. He's got those big backside snaps in his arsenal. And Jadson Andre, unfortunately, looked like he was winding up for something, but the lip came crashing down along with his chances for a score. Here goes Marco Giorgi. He's looking for the 2, pulls in. Almost an exit. Wow, he was right on the path towards Jadson Andre, so we'll be watching.
Was that Jadson he went in front of? That was pretty crazy. He was right there. Big old pump that was.
He's safe.
That was almost a 10 in the making there. He had a glimmer. He had a little light at the end of the tunnel, but it got swallowed up by Sunset Beach.
But on the flip side, there still are quite a few surfers that haven't had that much opportunity with 4-man priority. So Marco Giorgi might be on that list of guys with not a lot of experience when it comes to that priority play.
That was as critical as a turn can be, really. Out here at Sunset, that's going to be an excellent score for Mark. And now Jadson Andre, he's going to have a lot of homework here in the last 5 minutes.
Well, placement of turns, a crucial element to succeeding here at Sunset. Mark Laclemar placed 2 of them perfectly. Here's Ace Buchan. Got a big wall to work with. He goes under the lip, comes out unscathed. Now he's on the open face. Nice cut back into the whitewater. Beautiful surfing, as usual, for Ace Buchan. Very pleasing style to watch. Reminiscent of a Hobgood a little bit, knock-kneed. His arms are always in a cool spot on the waves. But Mark Laclemar's last score comes in at an 8.27. Things could get interesting in these last 4.5 minutes.
That's true. You know, you don't want to get too cocky. Nice little under the hood there. This wave super bumpy. You can see Ace just trying to hang on there as he was getting pushed around. And then this is where he just rides it into that deep spot right before Val's Reef. That wave's not going to break again. That hits extremely deep water. But yeah, he's cruising for sure. 8.27, huge score there for Mark. So he really put it to Jadson here in the last 4 minutes. He needs an 8.18.
And right behind there, adding insult to injury, Marco Giorgi gets a fistful of Sunset. Well, having a paddle. Wow, a wild whitewater ride. That was a stage 5 rapids for Adrian Buchan. Now he's on the open face. He'll be just carving his way to the beach. Just, you know, keeps applying that kind of medium pressure through that inside section.
We saw Jadson paddling for like a whitewashy, soupy, weird, medium-sized wave on the outside, just not in position.
And it drops him to 3rd priority, Ross.
That could be it for him.
I think you're right. Well, with 5 seconds to go, we're winding down. Heat 7 in the books. Another wild heat here at the Vans World Cup of Surfing. Marco Giorgi suffering the wrath of a painful interference going down. Adrian Buchan takes a convincing win along with Mark Laclemar. Jadson Andre finishes in 3rd.